welcome to all of you who are here with us today on this very special day of the 7th episode of Tête-à-tête, where we have conversations with absolutely lovely people from the yoga community, people who are teachers and students alike, because yogic conversations just go beyond anything else. And I'm sure you're experiencing this along with us through all these episodes that we've had over 7 weeks. And thank you for being here and being a part of it and showing so much love that it really keeps me going. And I feel like the intention with which I started, it really is fulfilling that purpose. So thank you so much for being with us. So today, as you know, I don't really need any introduction to go into what Tête-à-tête is about. We're really trying to get back to the authenticity and the traditional form of yoga. And as you know, we've spoken so much about it that yoga goes beyond the body and it goes so much more deeper than that. So today is about finding out more about this, and it's very, very special to get to know from him, and I'll come to that and why that is so. But I would love to share an instance with you all before I start today's show. That is that I am always guided to call someone on to our Tête-à-tête. It so happened that, a couple of weeks ago, that last week actually, I picked up my phone to call someone, and I said, I want to have this person on Tête-à-tête. And there was some resistance. I couldn't pick up my phone and call that person. The next day I tried again, and there was a voice that told me, not her. And I said, what is this? I said, okay, let me just follow this. And I kept my phone aside. And another person I thought of, and I picked up my phone, is like, not him. I was like, what is happening? I said, okay, fine. I'm keeping it aside. I'm listening to you. You guide me. I'm the medium kind of a thing. And then I thought of Annalise. And I picked up my phone and it said, yes, her. And I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. So when Annalise told me, and as you know, Annalise's show was amazing last week. So when Annalise told me about Yashwanth, even though I have never interacted with him, I'll tell you why in a bit. But even though I've never interacted with him, and I picked up my phone to call him, and there was like that green signal go sign, I said, okay, this is the time to do this. And I know it's some divine intervention that has brought this connection here today. So I'm so happy and proud to have Yashwanth on the show today. And before I bring him along, yes, I have to introduce him. So when I was doing my teacher's training course at 1000 Yoga, there was this person who was amazing at asanas. I can't even tell you how amazing he was. It just, I used to wonder and just like gawk at him and say in awe of his asanas and how easily his body used to sink into them. And it's not just that his body was sinking into those postures, but it was like he willingly was, the body was willingly in that ekagrita. And it was so beautiful to see him go into that. And me being the introvert that I am, I never really went up and spoke to him. He's been there throughout my teacher's training course, just doing asanas, and as quiet and composed as he is, he was just there as this entity, and I used to just admire him, but that's about it. And when Annalise told me about him, I said, oh my God, I would love for him to come on. I had never interacted with him, so her information of what he was kind of pushed me to pick up my phone and call him up. So when I did, and I had goosebumps last week when I spoke to him, and I'm so happy to have Yashwanth with us today. Thank you, Yashwanth. Welcome and namaste, and thank you so much for being here on the show. I'm so privileged to have you here with us today. And we have, yes, sorry.
Thank you for having me.
I am so happy to have you, and there is so much depth in him. There is immense depth in him, and I really hope that you are able to reach out. I mean, with my questions, I hope I'm able to do justice to what he has to share with you, and I'm really going to try my best. Okay, so namaste and welcome, Yashwanth.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So jumping right and diving into the space of everything that I have to ask you. Um,
Yes, I have
Yashwanth,
something to say.
yes, please, please.
Even not you only introvert, I think I am also an introvert. So I also don't speak much with the people. So it goes both the hands.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that could
So,
have happened.
so
Yes.
basically, Ashwan, so the thing is that my profession, since I'm a dancer and I have been a teacher for now, I think I've been teaching for 12 years. So it kind of has gotten into the space of like you go out and you're this entrepreneur and you're doing this whole thing by yourself. It kind of pushes you to go out of your comfort zone so many times. So a lot of people do not believe that I'm an introvert because I go yap, yap, yap a lot of times and I keep
Yeah.
talking. But I would really just love to close the door and be by myself and enjoy this, space inside. And give me an option of being with people and being alone, I would definitely pick being alone. And I almost get when I'm in social situations, I feel like, what am I going to talk? What am I going to do? Am I going to be okay? And I have to really push myself to do things certain times. You relate
Yeah.
to that, no?
Yes.
Lovely. So looking at you, anyone will know that you're an introvert. Looking at me, nobody knows and they don't believe that I'm an introvert, but we both are. Okay, so anyway, we've had an absolutely beautiful conversation the other day, Yashwanth, and to all of you who are watching today, frankly, it was more like I was getting acquainted with him because everybody until now, they were all people who I really connected with. I have been in touch with. I kind of, always have been in that space of knowing them. I have been, in the space of interacting with them. So the first time ever, it so happened that this person was completely new. I'm so sorry, my internet went off a little bit. I hope I didn't get
That's
disconnected.
fine.
Um,
Yeah.
yes, so it was the first time that this is a person who's completely new, as in I haven't interacted with him that much. But when I spoke to him and just got to know everything about him, it was even more intriguing for me to form questions. Like it's coming from nothingness, so it's new for me as well. Everything that I'm getting to know about you, Yashwanth, and your thoughts and your ideas are just so precious, and I'm waiting to just share it with everybody. So starting off with that, Yashwanth, as I have written in your introduction, you did aerodynamics. I mean, that is just amazing. It's amazing that from a space of aerodynamics, this is for each one of you who may not have read the introduction. He had a job at HAL. Okay, which if y'all are not from Bangalore, just to tell you, it's a very, very highly reputed job. And when he was there and he was there working a few days or months or whatever, he realized that it's not striking, something was not striking right, something was off. And he actually, through somebody who we personally know, he found a reception a job at a reception desk at Thousand Yoga. And he took that over a job at HAL. Now, I am just wondering, what is it that, struck inside of you that gave you the courage? And, it must be a very deep inner voice, Yashwanth, that must have come through, which told you not this and this. Like, you must have been like anything but that. But what made you think that way? And what made you come to that conclusion?
I think at that point, I was looking for something. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. It's a little soft, so I'm increasing it.
Okay.
Mine is soft. Yes, yeah, you're fine. Yeah.
I was always looking for something permanent. Like at very young age, I used to sit
Okay.
with all my grandfathers. They used to always speak about life.
Hmm.
And whatever happens, they have one thing to do in their life is agriculture. So their entire life is based on agriculture. I was looking for something like that to do entire my
Wow.
life.
Wow.
I thought knowledge is something can make me to feel some way like that. I can produce some technology, work on that throughout my life. But I felt that's not what I was looking.
Mm-hmm.
I was physically active throughout my life. So somewhere I was thinking I will join some gym or something, try something like that. But because of my friend Mahesh, I
Okay.
ended up with yoga. I think somehow I came across 1,000 yoga.
Yeah.
I joined there. That's the only thing triggered me. Like, I was looking something to be to form something entire life. I don't want to give up something in my somewhere and start something new.
Wow. I mean, for that calling to come at that time, Yashwant, because generally what happens is, people get this kind of insight later in their life, 30s, 40s, 50s. A lot of people are like, oh no, now I want a career change because I've realized that I probably lived for someone else, or I probably lived doing something that I didn't want to do. So what is it that told you at that time? I mean, what was that voice? It's a lot of courage, basically. I don't know, I'm going on asking this question, but it's a lot of courage to be that young when you had just kind of started your job, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only thing is I have seen a lot of people around me growing up. I have seen a lot of lives. I realized it's mostly something they want to do entire life that makes them happy. That only the thing triggered me that I should take a decision right now. Better I choose something which is long lasting.
Wow. And you knew that this was, okay, no, we'll come to that, how you felt that it was. We'll come to that. But I'm amazed. Like, really, applause for you for doing that and now being able to, influence so many more lives. So that's really, really nice. Okay, so the next thing that I wanted to do is ask you is that, okay, now that you're doing yoga and you came from this background of aerodynamics, right? So do you feel anything from that space, anything that you learned or whatever, you're able to use in your classes? Or because I'm trying to figure out, see, everybody has a life path, and why someone goes to A and then to B and then to C, there's a reason for everything. So do you think that particular aspect is contributing to this in some way?
Yes, I feel, yeah. It expands my understanding about the practice, applications. When we say space, I know how the actual space looks outside, above the earth. When I read space, what we say, Chidakasha, Hridayakasha, I can relate the things. So it's easy for me to understand the natural aspect much more closer.
Wow. That's beautiful. Oh my God, that's really beautiful. Now I'm trying to imagine it. There are actually a lot of times that my sister makes fun of me when she's explaining choreography when we're dancing. There's something that she'll explain, okay, and she'll say it so beautifully that everybody would have started dancing, and I'm still like that in my, khayalon mein, because I'm imagining, oh, she said this, maybe like a blossoming like a flower, or I remember she said this. She said it's like a paint drop of paint in water, and how that paint just spreads into the water. And I'm still standing and imagining that. So now I'm imagining this, but then I'm like, okay, wake up, we need to go ahead. But that's really nice, Yashwanth. I can just imagine. Now I'm intrigued how that must be looking, and maybe I want to know a little bit more about aerodynamics. I think that's amazing. Okay, so it's important for us all to know about your first yoga experience. So let me just have like a cue that leads us up to there. So it so happened that his friend Mahesh, I think he mentioned earlier, told him that, why don't you just go and try. Imagine they were at the reception desk, okay? And he said, why don't you just go in and try yoga? And he said that I don't think that suits me, and I don't think that's something that I would strike with. And, he said, no, I think you should just try it. So he went for one class. Okay, tell us how you went for that class and what that was like, your first ever yoga experience.
It's Vineet and me. We both started together practicing. That's how it started. Amrish, he always encourages everyone to practice yoga. And he's been asking us, why don't you join? Why don't you? So we thought after 3 months, him asking us to join the classes, one day we thought, okay, let's give it a shot. We'll see how it goes. We went inside the class. I think it's a hatha class. I thought I was strong always. I've been in sports. I've been helping my father in agriculture and very long time. I always felt I'm strong. But once I went into class, I think I felt my ego was gone. And
wow.
after the class, me and Vineet were sitting there for 10 minutes to get energy to come out of the class. We were so wet. I mean, we were sweating all over, and that's where I realized that it's not so easy how it looks. I think there is something I can deep try something to know here.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing. I can't believe this. I mean, believe this in the sense of you have been doing physical activity for that long, but still it was strenuous. I mean, agriculture, there's nothing more, physically strenuous, I feel, than agriculture. And you felt like this was more and, you were dripping at the end. That's amazing. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Yashwanth, one thing that I have seen, and all of us, that introduction was like that, and you have seen his amazing asana abilities, because I think his picture that I had put up as well was that, him doing asanas. So, that's something that your body gave into easily, or did it take some time to get there?
I always believe in muscle memory. I'm not sure where I did yoga as such, but I think my muscle has a lot of memory. It started accepting things faster.
Wow.
It doesn't took much long for me. I was practicing the same. It's just that I started feeling the experience part changed. I started feeling calm at the same time open. I started listening things at the same time thinking about them. There is no duality. It's always one thought at a time, being more clarity. I felt more changes within, but the asana part, I think body started accepting faster for some reason. I'm also not sure at that point.
Oh my God, I'm amazed at that. I'm amazed. So, are you telling me that you were not always that flexible?
No. After 5-6 classes, I felt that I was moving normal. I can't say flexible or strong, but I'm not that good at doing yoga before. But after first 5-6 classes, just 5-6 classes I counted, I still remember. So Aarti Narayan, we used to have 1,000 yoga used to have asana of the month. That was Uttita Hasta Padangushta.
Okay.
Aarti said, hold the big toe. I said, okay, nothing wrong with it. I can hold the big toe. She said, straighten the knee. I was just following her instructions. I straightened the knee. And after the class, Aarti asked, how long you been practicing Yashwanth? I said, Aarti, this is my 6th or 7th class. She said, don't lie. I still remember. I think it just started accepting faster with me. Body started accepting. Yeah.
So, Yashwanth, this is something that I believe, because there are a lot of things about dance that I personally haven't learned in this life, at least. And I'm so sure that I must have learned it in past lives. There are a lot of things about yoga, not asana. I'm not as great with asanas, but there's a lot of knowledge that I know that comes to me that I have not read. I won't say knowledge, but just, certain things that I do or I say, I know it comes from some previous life. So I'm sure that that's what it is with you. You must have been some great yogi. And it's muscle memory. This one, the Vijnana Kosha.
Yeah.
Vijnana Kosha that has carried that from another life and brought it here. For those of you who don't know about koshas, please go and learn them, and then you'll understand what I'm talking about. But this is beautiful. This is absolutely beautiful. I think it's amazing how you got here. But so Yashwanth, if something like this came really easy to you, and how are you able to relate with someone who is not getting asanas easily? How do you teach them?
So after 6 months I did TTC, I started teaching. I realized not everyone is flexible.
Yeah.
Mentally, physically.
Yeah.
So I have to lose my flexibility consciously. It's a very difficult part. You have to lose what you can do and work on it again. I do it quite often, like maybe twice a year. Twice a year, I take a break for 3 months. I don't practice. I consciously let it go my practice. at some point I feel the practice also is independent. I don't have to be dependent on my practice. That's
Yeah.
what yoga teaches us. So I consciously let it go. I practice again from scratch. It's new experience. I like that experiences. It makes you feel that you're not something great. You still go through changes. Change is permanent. So that's how I learn.
Oh my God, that is brilliant. That is mind blowing. This is taking an independent practice to a whole new level.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
letting going of practice something is difficult. I can do an arm balance. I can do a jump through, or I can jump from a downward dog to kakasana. But now I can't do. How do we face it?
Really? When you take that break and you come back, you can't do it?
No, I can't do. But the good part is when I start working on the basics, suddenly someday it just happens. It just maybe 1 month it just happens. That's where I realized muscle memory is much more stronger.
Yeah. Yashwanth, this is something that I have seen too. So I don't go so much into advanced postures, and frankly, for me, the way I practice yoga or teach yoga, I remember someone who's doing the first class with me. They said, today I wanted to start class today, and they were doing individual sessions with me. And she said, I want to start class today, but I don't feel like exercising. I don't feel like doing things. I said, I don't do anything. I just roll on the mat and I enjoy my space on the mat. That's basically what I do. So just come, you'll enjoy it. So, just like stretching or, just being with yourself and being in stillness and just probably few asanas here and there, more like a movement from one asana, more really, really slow things. So that's something that I enjoy. So I very rarely go into, okay, let's try an arm balance today. Once in 6 months I'll be like, oh, I used to love that arm balance and I couldn't do it at all. Let me try and see what I can do, and I can do something. Or like a split. I have never done a split. Okay. And after now it's been 5 years since I've been practicing yoga for a very long time, much longer before I did my TTC, but I did it in all wrong ways and all of that. So I just count like from the time that I did my TTC. So it's been 5 years that I've been continuously practicing it. And I just did it. I tried, let me do a split, and I did it that day. I said, Ye kahan se? Where did this even come from? Where could it have come from? Because I have never tried it. And then I realized your basics will just hold you. Your basics are everything. And I think, as you're saying, you don't even have to do that. But after a while, it just comes. Even if you're just doing basics, it just comes. I think that's amazing. But this whole thought, Yashwanth, about unlearning and relearning, I think is so wise. It's so wise. I think we can all take so much from it. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank
More than unlearning, it's more of letting go. It's a lot of
Letting
ego, I
go.
feel, as a teacher. As a teacher, once we grow, start doing advanced asanas, subconsciously there is an ego growing in.
Yeah.
What if I can't do that asana in front of the students?
Yeah.
Since I have done a lot of demonstrations for teachers trainings, that's what I learned from there. How long I can do an asana? Am I getting dependent on an asana? But it's always taught me to be independent. Let it go. That's okay. It will come back.
I have goosebumps just listening to that. I really, really do. Like, oh my God, it's amazing. It's amazing, Yashwanth, because more than anything, that was one of my questions, which I can come to like right now, is that a lot of people get stuck there. They're doing asanas, they're very happy with that. Very few who have gotten asanas can go deeper and actually have the strength to do what you're doing. Like as you said, can you let go and say, I'm not dependent on it. My ego is not about how much I can do. And there are very few people who can actually do that. So what is it that kind of made you cross that boundary, cross the boundary from asana into the entirety of it?
I learned it from asana itself. So
Okay.
the deeper aspects. As I go deeper, I realized all the asanas are same. It doesn't matter it's an advanced. We just name it as an advanced
Yeah.
if it looks complicated. But even a bhujanga, even a bhujanga is something advanced for me.
Mm.
So I believe it's more of the depth of asana. As the deeper and deeper I go into the practice, that's where I realized that it's not the physical expression what it looks. It's something the essence which gives that asana that expression. So I started understanding this essence, and that gave me to let's try this. Why don't you leave the asana, physical expression, and I'll keep the essence. After 3 months, I'll try with the same essence. Will it come back to me? Uh, it happened. It came back. So I keep doing these experiments on me so that it works. I can help much better for a student.
Wow. I'm not even able to talk after you say something because I go on like manan of that, what you said. I'm like, let me just stay in that moment for like a little bit longer because I'm enjoying it so much. I'm enjoying what you're saying, and I feel like there's so much depth in that. There's so many layers to it that I don't even want to talk. I just want to stay there and say, oh, okay, this is what he said. And
So
oh my God.
I got triggered with this because of a story.
Okay.
It's a bit, it's a little long story. Is it okay? It's just
Please
yeah.
go ahead. Yes.
There is a village in southern part of India, very long back. It's called Rudravaram.
Okay.
It used to be forest. These are small villages in between. And summers, they don't have water within the village. So they have to walk very long to get the drinking water. So one person in the village, he thought, why don't I help the people inside the village? So on the way to his village from the forest, he always see a small place where he always finds water. Then he thought maybe I should dig here so that I get to the water here. And he started digging there. He goes every day morning 5 a.m., comes back home by 5 p.m. Every day he carries a lunch box. So he eats only one time in a day, and he keeps digging in this big hole. It's been 1 month, so he didn't find any water. And in the villages, we have something called Ratchakatta, where people sit in the evenings. They speak about the in and out, what all things are happening, how's agriculture going, what all activities inside the village are happening.
Wow.
Since
What
he's
is it
doing
called?
good, Ratchakatta.
Rachakatta. Okay.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And this, everyone started suggesting him, see, if you're not getting water there, I think you should try in a different place. Why didn't you try in this place? I saw water there. So he shifted the place. He started digging there. It's been 1 month, no water. It continued to happen for 12 months, 12 places, big pits. One day at the 12th pit, he was sitting there during his lunch break. And he's thinking, looking at the sky, what should I do now? It's been 1 year. On his way, Agastya Muni, he usually walks from southern part of India to North India to southern part. He usually walks. And he saw on his way, there are too many holes around the village. So he's the only person next to that. So he called him. What happened? What are these things? He didn't say that he's the one who is doing this thing. He said, someone in the village trying to help us. Rishis are always ironic. They just don't say things directly. He said how stupid he is. He could have tried the same thing at the same place. So the first part, how stupid he is, it's stuck in his mind. Second part didn't even go inside. It went for 1 more month. At the end of 1 month, he started realizing he let the ego go. He started listening things. Then he went for the first pit. And he started digging for 1 minute. He got the water. The moral I realized is, we are all looking for the essence of asana through different asanas every day. What if I choose a single asana, practice is as much as possible in entire my life and see how deep I can get into the asana aspect. Maybe it can teach me a lot because everyone is looking for the water. This story, it's just applied with my practice. I think that's where I started working more on asana practice, seeing much more deeper aspects. I was also inspired with this story.
My heart is beating and I have tears in my eyes. I don't know what to say. My God. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yashwanth, that's just so beautiful.
Thank you.
I don't even want to talk after this. Like, thank you for that. I don't even know what to say. I don't have words to speak after this because you just redefine the whole meaning of advanced postures. You redefine the meaning of a posture. I think it's beautiful. Oh my God! Thank you for that. I think also, traditionally, according to Raj Yoga, asana means seated posture. You don't have to do anything. It's about being in a seated posture where you can just stay for hours together. आसन जो आसानी से हो जिसमें बैठ सकते हैं, you can sit for a long time, you can just stay there for like an hour and soak in and extract the deeper aspects of it. I think that's just so beautiful. Yashwanth, thank you for that. I don't know what to say after this. It's mind blowing. Thank you for that beautiful story, Yashwanth. I think I must say that you narrated it absolutely beautifully and it just really struck the chord. Wow, thank you so much for that. So Yashwanth, we've had the privilege again of learning from Pradeep sir. And really there's, I'm so grateful that we've been led to the right guru, because I feel like that's everything, where you learn and extract from, it means everything. And one thing that I secretly am jealous of you about, very envious, I must say, is that you got to spend so much time with him because you were, you were doing the demo along with him. So he used to teach the class and you were doing the asana demo. So you've been with him a lot and you've seen so many reflections of him in so many classes, so you must have gotten so much from him. I mean, it's unlimited, the knowledge and the depth of everything. So is there something that no one knows that you secretly kind of caught on, or can you just share a few things that you learned from him?
Yeah, why not? I still remember each and every day I spent with Pradeep assisting, learning something new every day. We don't speak much. I speak with eyes, he answers with eyes during the class. And he's always encouraging. That's one I liked much about him, is he's always encouraging. He encouraged me to be part of a TTC doing demo. That's the biggest thing. I felt that's the biggest thing for me to start with. But after that, he gave chance to teach. And I started assisting him. It's every day something new learning, and I don't know. I can only say is learning every day. Every day I learn something, and I am a very tricky person to ask tricky questions to Pradeep.
Like what? I want to know what. I want to know the question and the answer.
So many things. So I learned how he understands. He used to give me tips how to go ahead with any kind of a question, class, teaching. One stupid thing I have asked, there are a lot. One thing is, it's Korabangla. After the class, Pradeep came. Pradeep used to stay close by during that time, Korabangla itself. He usually comes after dinner for a walk and he comes to studio. So that was the last class I taught late. And I had a question asking him, there was a change in his name. His teacher has given his name. I asked him, Pradeep, there is new teacher is coming. His name is Pradeep Satomaya. He smiled at me and said, Ashwini, it's my name. And there are so many funny things like this. And I used to ask him technical questions, whatnot. Every day I used to ask him some other questions.
Wow.
And he used to have a lot of patience to answer my questions. Most of the times, not the answers, but the questions. That's the thing I like him is he tries to give the clarity of a question before I'm asking. Most of the times we ask a question out of curiosity, and but we have answer with him. So he always tries to get the answer from your side.
Wow.
That's a really good thing I learned from him.
Wow, that's really beautiful. Yeah.
And he taught me asana. Yes, till the end of samadhi, you still practice asana because you lie down in a shavasana. But the way you look into that aspect, that asana is being carried till samadhi. But there are a lot of aspects we can correlate. There's a lot. I keep speaking about Pradeep, the entire day goes.
Oh my God, I'm waiting to bring Sir. I don't know when he's going to find the time, but I'm really, really waiting to bring him. Okay.
If I think I'm thinking different about something, when Pradeep speaks, I find how could he think even that way? I think what made him to think that way? He's more interesting. His applications. Sometimes I feel that's why he got gold medal. No wonder.
Oh, I don't know about all of this. What gold medal?
Pradeep sir got gold medal in Yogic science from Bihar School of Yoga.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I think that's amazing. That's really amazing. And I can't even be surprised about it. Of course, he must have, he's amazing. He's an amazing person. And someone who can learn so many aspects from, so many. And thank you for bringing and shining few of those things with us and sharing it. Thank you so much for that. Okay, before we go ahead, please, anyone who has questions for Yashwanth, we have a few already, but in case you have more questions, please do send them, write them as comments, and we'll definitely take them at the end of the session. Okay. Now going to Yashwanth, you also regard Amresh and Aarti as your teachers as well. So you have some beautiful things that you've learned from them, and I want you to share those things, please. I think that's absolutely beautiful.
Sure. With Amresh, he always considered me as a brother, like a family, how we teach brothers. So he always taught me like that. He always makes sure that taking care of me, but not being there.
Oh.
Yeah, not being there, he take care of me. The best thing I remember I learned a lot from him. The best thing is being a human. How to have a passion about other humans. One day we are coming from Koramangala to Whitefield. He had a class in Whitefield. I was taking public transport. I came with him on the bike. On the way to Whitefield, someone met with an accident. Whitefield was a little dry those days, so there was no water close by. We went and helped him, but he usually carries a water bottle with water. That day he couldn't carry. How much bad he felt about that. And anytime I see Amar, he always carries the water filled. That makes me feel that how much concern he has about the people.
Wow.
How much love he has to give. It's just makes me feel that, okay, there are better humans around us. We can learn a lot.
Definitely. Oh my God, that's a beautiful story. So you were saying something?
No, that's what I learned from him. He taught me a lot, being as a person, humanity, taking care of others. Yeah, a lot.
That's so heartwarming. The story is just so beautiful that he always carries water, and it's not for him. He carries a full bottle of water in case someone else needs it. I think that's just so heartwarming. Thank you for that, Yashwanth. And I haven't had the privilege of knowing Amar that much, that closely. I mean, yes, like, he took some of our classes in the TTC, and as well as, I mean, I follow him on Facebook and he's amazing with whatever he does. But I haven't really shared, a space of interacting with him. So now I think I should. This sounds really good, and he sounds like an amazing person.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you had something about Aarti as well.
Aarti, she always considered me as bringing up a baby. Like she teaches everything to me. She makes sure that she's there for me all the time, supporting things. When I taught my first class, when I was teaching, she was always supporting by attending my classes. It shows a lot of encouragement as a person. Experienced teacher coming to your class to encourage you to teach. In the starting, every teacher feels that's privileged, and as a person also, she can do some asanas in the class. It's just that she want to show me, I was growing as a teacher, that he can do amazing few things. So she used to ask me to come onto the stage and do things. It's just making me know people that he can do better things. Go to his class.
Oh, wow.
Like, there is a lot. We used to meet every day. Yeah.
That's so beautiful. I think that's really, again, showing no ego. There's no ego whatsoever. I think that's beautiful.
It's a lot of learning between both of us. She always said we are equal, Yashwanth. That makes me really crazy. Like I have learned under you. Now you're saying we are equal. Sometimes it makes me feel that there is no ego at all between a teacher. Inspires me again not to have any ego, like letting go things. Yeah.
Wow, that's beautiful. Yashwanth, you said something really beautiful about your grandfather, and something that he told you, very wise words, something that probably, if each of you have a book and a pen, please write this down, because I was like, I want to write this, can you repeat it again? So it was beautiful, so please share that with us.
So my grandfather, he always he grew within himself by doing agriculture. Too many losses, we used to have so many things, and eventually, because of agriculture in Andhra Pradesh, that point of time was not so great, so we have a lot of loss. But he always keep doing what he's doing. So when I was young, he used to say only one thing throughout my schooling was, if you find yourself doing something, keep doing that, so that people will appreciate what you're doing. So if you find yourself in doing something, keep doing the same thing. People will appreciate what you're doing. And
that you're good. I mean, that you're good, and that is what kind of gels with you. I'll tell you exactly the words, because I had written that and it was so.
Okay.
Wait. When you find what is true to yourself.
Yeah, sorry. True to
yourself. When
yourself.
you find what is true to yourself and what you are good at, then anything that you do in that field, people will appreciate you for it. Why? Because it's true to you. I think that's brilliant. Oh my God. That's just, oh my God. It blew my mind. It just blew my mind, because there are so many people who, they pick something up, and there are people who are saying, oh, you're so good at this, you're so good at this. But then you realize that every single person has a purpose to their life. And when you're doing something that aligns with your purpose, you will automatically be good at it. And that's because you're being true to who you are. I think that's just so beautiful. Can you please tell him, is he alive? Please do.
No,
oh my God. So then I am connecting to his soul and just thanking him for this wisdom that has come through. I think that's beautiful. And for each one of you to take back with you, please do what is true to you, what your heart calls out to, and When people start appreciating you for it, that that's what is true for you, and that aligns with your purpose. So please go ahead with that. So thank you so much for that, Yashwanth. And another thing that you spoke about was, that you did a lot of workshops, and that taught you so much about how to teach, right? And you kind of integrated that into your module of your TTC. So what is it? What kind of inspired you? What is it that you kind of extracted? What made you feel like you want to include that here?
I was seeking for something why we should do a teacher's training actually. What exactly is this? Was there before? And I came across something called 64 art forms. So Indian culture has 64 art forms.
Wow, is that so?
Yeah. So among them, yoga is one. As it's always taught as an art form in schools.
Wow. Okay.
So like those days we used to have agriculture, pot making. Every profession is considered as an art form. So somehow, any other way, we are trying to reach samadhi through art form. One among them was yoga. So when I came across this, I thought maybe I should teach it like an art form. But where does it come? In what part of the life does it come? Practicing yoga. So there is this saying we all know, Mata Pita Guru Daivam. And it's just one line, but it shows us the life of a person. He has taken his life in the womb of a mother. She gave life. Father, he taught him how to behave with others, how to receive things. But reaching Daivam is a person who reached the Daivatvam. So to move from this point to there, you need someone called Guru. And this transformation is done under the presence of him. So this transformation is something what I was looking, and I worked on that particular line, and it came out well. So that's a module of a teacher's training I think of. Wow. It's more of a transformation, and it's an art form. It can help us in many different ways as in life we progress.
Wow, I'd never seen it as an art form. This is changing my perspective towards so many things. I think it's just absolutely brilliant. I had not seen it as art. I mean, I had seen it as something else, but to look at it as art now, I think it's blowing my mind. It's giving me a whole other perspective. I need, some time to sink this in.
And I came across different questions similarly, like how does a Bharatanatyam becomes an art? And because it's also starting from Shiva. And my questions got answered slowly, and that's how I came to a conclusion as of now. It's an art form how I teach. So it's going to be like any other art forms. Every art form is trying to reach Samadhi. Sachin, why we give him a lot of respect. It's just that he carried the art form. He didn't carry as his identity as a person. He carried the identity of an art form. So every art form, every artist is trying to carry their own spiritual path towards Samadhi. It's just a different path. We can choose any different paths. If someone is interested to choose yoga as a path, then this is an art form to try.
Wow. And it's so beautiful, the 64 of India. Oh my God.
This I came from Amaravati. So there is a place in Amaravati in South India. It was a big kingdom, and they have different scriptures. And they used to teach these 64 arts there.
Wow.
So I learned it from a Sanskrit teacher in my school days.
Really?
Yes. So
Yashwanth, you had learned in your school days, and something that far away has contributed to the thought now of how you teach it.
Yeah.
That's very surreal.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful when I look back and think why he has to take 64 forms then. It could have said, yeah, there are art forms. And it just taught. But I still remember the Sanskrit sir, how he used to explain like a story, like how it goes, how they used to teach. Yeah, it's all contributing now. I can feel it.
Oh my God. Wow, that's amazing, amazing. Okay, so one of the things that you mentioned when we were talking, Yashwanth, was you said so beautifully that yoga is selfless and teaching yoga is selfless. Please elaborate on that, because I want us all to experience what it is that you saw in it that brought that in front.
Uh, okay, so for example, I like some sweet. I make it every day. Maybe I cooked it today, but it's in a larger quantity. I had enough. I can't keep it for tomorrow.
Hmm.
I can't eat anymore. So I thought, what should I do now? I have to give to someone else. If not, I can't eat. If I eat, I'll die. I felt knowledge was also the same. After some point, you can't utilize it. You can't give it to others. Food spoils. Same with knowledge. As long as you are sharing knowledge, there is a lot of exchange happening. You can eat. You can still eat something new. If you stop sharing, that's a point. I think we can't eat anything, and it's not going to be useful even though I keep it for
It
myself.
won't be useful. That's
Yeah.
very true.
So that made me to think it has to be selfless. You have to share. If not, I can't eat. So it started with this, and it expanded towards selfless. Similar meanings. Yeah.
Wow, that's really beautiful. um, okay, so everything that you're saying, Yashwanth, is making me go into some thinking mode. I'm like, okay, come back. I'm still here. But
Okay.
one thing that's there, which I want to tell each one of you. So I have to go back and I edit all of these sessions so that I can put it on the podcast. And because I have to listen to everything again, when I listen to everything again, I can just keep listening again and again and again. And every time I listen to it, there's a different meaning that comes through.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful. Please
Yes.
re-listen to everything, all of the podcasts. There are such beautiful things that I've said. But Yashwanth, yours, I mean, generally I go into thinking mode later, but now I'm like, I'm not able to stop. I'm like, come back to human self. Don't go into that some other world where I just get lost and I'm there. Thank you for these beautiful, beautiful things that you're saying. Okay, my last question from me, and then we'll move on to the questions from everyone else. This is something that I added last minute because Annalise commented on the post saying, Yashwanth, I love the breath work that you do. I said, what is this? We didn't speak about this. So please tell us what it is that you go into depths of during when you do work with the breath.
So I follow ahimsa on the
Mm.
practice when I teach. So usually ahimsa is your thoughts, words, actions shouldn't lead to any kind of a pain for others or for yourself. So I go with the action part. So when you're practicing asana, for example, you're holding Parshvakona and you're putting so much physical effort to hold the exact, whatever is exact, and we're holding that. But your breath is something suffocating.
Mm.
So that means indirectly your body is going through pain. Ahimsa. So in my practice, I realized first we need to keep the breath to progress, and followed by the spinal movement. As long as my breath is normal and I'm breathing consciously, I can gradually get into the practice along with the breath. As long as I'm doing this, my practice is ahimsa. I'm not doing any himsa in my practice. That's what she meant.
I think that's beautiful. Wow.
And the science also supports the same thing. As long as your breath is short, your nervous system says something wrong is happening, so don't open anything.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes. The nervous system reacts in a certain way, fight or flight mode, and yeah, it goes into this thing. So yeah, in one of our sessions previously as well, we have mentioned this. If your heartbeat paces, that's good. You're working it out, but not your breath. Your breath has to be calm and long, and the longer it is, the better it is. First, I want to personally share an experience here, Yashwanth, that I don't think I have shared on the Tête-à-tête, so I really want to share this today. That when any of you just kind of start your yoga practices, once you finish Surya Namaskar practice or vinyasas or something like that, you will start panting, or your heartbeat paces and all of that. And even when you do any exercise, when you do gymming or running or whatever, you must be noticing, right, your heartbeat paces and your breath paces as well. But with yoga, you see that over a period of time, no matter what you do, you run, you do how many ever Surya Namaskars, at the end of it, your heartbeat will pace, but your breath will never pace. And I realized this one day, Yashwanth, where Mama and Nana, my grandfather, they were waiting at the end of the road, and she said, instead of us walking, why don't you get the car and come? So I ran to get the car because I didn't want my grandfather to walk too much. So I ran, and I picked up the keys, and I was opening the door, and I sat inside, and my heart was beating, but I'm slowly breathing. I said, what is this magic? This is very weird. This is not something I'm used to. And that's when I realized that yoga kind of just takes over your life. It just spreads into every aspect of your life without you even knowing it. And I was so amazed at that. And breath is that strong. And the quality of your life, of course, the length of your life, but I won't concentrate too much on the length, because more than the length, the quality is important. So the quality of your life is dependent on how long your breaths are and how deep your breaths are, because that really kind of reflects into every aspect of your being. It's not just your lungs and the health of your mind, to your nervous system, to your endocrine glands, to everything is dependent on the breath. Like how your Surya Namaskar practice, and how that reflects on the thyroid, and it's just the breath that does that, and the movement of the inhale, exhale, all of that reflects on it. So it's in your breath is your lifeline. Basically, that's what it is. So if you are practicing yoga without practicing your breath, it's pointless. And I'm so glad, Yashwanth, that I have people like this who I'm speaking to, who are practicing and preaching and teaching yoga in the right way, in the right way, and right, with the right knowledge, and I value it even more, because places that I went to earlier, they did not teach properly. Like, they didn't even teach about, okay, you don't need to keep your knees straight, your spine needs to be straight when you do a forward bend. Basic thing like that they don't teach. So we are so fortunate that we found this path of the right practice of yoga. So each one of you, I really hope that this is bringing you more and more reflections on where you're going and where you're learning from. Please learn from the right sources. Okay, on that note, let's go to the questions. And I must say that a lot of these questions have come from Yashwanth's students, and his students are as amazing as he is, because these questions are like, oh, what are these questions? These are amazing questions. So let's get to them. So the first question is, why does the body go through aches and pains during the sadhana period? How to tackle this?
Sculpturing, right? Yes. So when we sculpture chooses a rock, it doesn't have any definite shape, but he has in mind that if I do something, if I keep stressing it with a hammer and nail, I know to get into a good shape. God is thinking in the same way, I feel. So he makes sure that we go through different things,
Very true.
and at the end of the day, we are trying to come into a better shape.
Yeah.
That's why in sadhana we go through all these things. But how to come out of it? We need to have inspiration. I always suggest to seek inspiration from others.
Mm.
We have a lot of good people around us. There is everything nature outside. To seek inspiration from outside if things are not going good inside. So body will definitely go through changes. These small changes becomes a bigger transformation.
Yeah.
But if you are going through pain, when you are practicing, it's an unbearable pain, short pain. That means we have to change the practice. That's all I think. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Don't do things that are, especially when it comes from the ego of wanting to show someone that I can do this, or you want to even prove to yourself, oh, I could do that. Like, it was so amazing that Yashwanth has come from, this agricultural background. When I can do that, why can't I do this? So just, drop it. You don't need to show anyone anything. You don't even need to prove anything to yourself, and just let yourself be and do something that feels good, do something that feels nice. And but yeah, aches and pains are good. It kind of leads you somewhere. Enjoy it. If it's too much, then don't go there. I think that
it's always the inspiration. The inspiration we see drives us much more ahead.
Yeah. I think that's really nice to have some kind of inspiration that keeps you going, for sure. Okay, the next one would be, would you talk about head back or chin to chest on a back bend? Why sometimes we do and why we don't? How do we as practitioners choose what works for us?
Okay, we will choose two asanas when we are dropping back in a back bend. One could be Uttana Hasta, starting of Shivananda Surya Namaskara. One will choose Ustrasana. When there is a movement happening, dropping head creates a dizziness. So while we are doing a movement, we don't drop the head. And we drop the head in Ustrasana because we are holding the asana there. This is the first case. In the second case, if my back bend, usually back bends, the compression has to be equal, including the cervical. What happens if you drop the head back? So the pressure which has to be distributed in this part of the spine is breaking. So that's why we don't say dropping head back when you are doing any standing back bends. And it creates a disconnection between this part of the spine and this part of the spine. So the energy doesn't move upwards. And while we are doing asanas like while the spine is undergoing a deeper back bend, your neck is following that. Then you can drop the head back. And this is the second condition. And the last thing is the breath. If you don't have control over the breath in a back bend, no dropping the head back. Because this is the space, the breath moving in and out. If this is being expanded, the breath doesn't go in, it goes only clavicular. Then you can't breathe and person may get dizzy. So 3 conditions, yeah.
That's beautiful. For those of you who don't know, clavicular breathing is just with the collarbones and it remains at the upper space. It doesn't really go in to the abdomen, which is really important, and to use all the parts of the lungs to breathe. I think that's a very important thing. This is really beautiful, Yashwanth, about how the energy rising up during the backward bend. That's really beautiful. Thank you for that. Okay, when we don't get postures, what do we do?
As I said, the ahimsa, we are always looking for the breath to accommodate. It's just the breath. As far as the breath is inculcated in your practice, the body will open enough. But it depends upon when we are starting our sadhana practice. We may have some physical limitations at some time. Maybe we are unstructurally born in that way. So there is not much we can do. But it's a physical limitation. I was flexible before, I was strong before. But because of my lifestyle, I became stiff. So
Yeah.
there is a lot of possibility that we can grow as a practitioner. But if it's a function, structurally, if you're born that way, then there is very less margin what we can do. But
Yeah.
it's always the breath.
Yeah. That's nice. Also, it doesn't matter if you're not able to do a posture. Like Yashwanth said so beautifully, he's spoken about it earlier that there is no advanced posture, there is nothing more advanced or below or anything. It's just do one, dig in one place. That's enough. Do whatever you can and just keep going deeper into that. So that's beautiful. Okay, this is the last question. I actually very quiet today, Yashwanth. I think everybody has gone. I'm so jealous of you all again now. Envious that they can afford to just sit back and enjoy this and not actually have to ask all these questions, because I wish I could do that. I don't, because there's no questions that come, and that's never happened. I think that's just they're enjoying this so much that they don't want to type. They're just in some other world. I think they've reached that state of yoga. Just listening to you. Okay, so this is the last question. Which is more important effort, physical, to establish an asana, if not very flexible, or effort to stabilize the breath?
It's more of effort putting on the breath. For example, I am doing Utkata. I will go for much more milder version, Warrior 2. Now, physically, I'm trying to gain control over my body. I can't bend the knee, I can't engage the thigh. So I'm putting effort to gain control over my body initially. Now I'm putting effort on my breath also together. After some point of practice, you don't have to think I have to engage the thigh because it's happening in an auto mode version. So now the effort is going down. Same thing should happen with the breath. We're always looking for the breath. The effort involved to take the breath in and out has to be minimum as we progress in our practice. That's the progression in the practice.
That's beautiful. That is beautiful. Just keep your awareness on the breath. Yeah. And really it goes on to auto mode. After a while, you don't even have to, do anything. In fact, nowadays, even when I'm picking up, hot food, I'm stirring, all that, my breath is involved. Like inhale and like it just goes, into that mode. Automatically, your breath is in that space of just calming down, or when you move okay, I want to pick something up, and I inhale and I pick it up from there. It just goes, and your breath kind of becomes a part of you. So yes, use your breath in every single aspect, and so beautifully Yashwanth has said that it goes into auto mode. Okay, let me just check once more if there are any more questions. Also, I'm so sorry about this. I don't know if you can hear this because of Ganesh Chaturthi. There's a whole mandala, this thing that has been created over here, which is opened out to these live musicians and all singing. Can you hear that, Yashwanth?
No, not much.
Thank God. Otherwise, they're a loudspeaker. Okay. Does age make a difference to flexibility during asanas?
Why we are looking into deepening a physical expression? First question. Why don't we work on deepening the breath? Subtle aspect. Because what we are looking from asana is a subtle aspect. Making them understanding, saying that physical is always a limitation. There is something beyond the physical as part of an asana essence. So it can be at any point of age, they can still practice yoga. But what we are looking into is the breath, not much of a physical expression. Keeping age as not a limitation, acceptance.
Right.
I have started at this age, I'm accepting that and moving ahead. So it's all acceptance, I feel. Yeah. Age doesn't matter.
Yashwanth, I would like to share a story here of what happened with my uncle. I think he's my grand uncle, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. And I had this conversation with him wherein he was like, "Oh wow, you're doing yoga, and I'm so happy. I also want to practice, but I can't do it. I only do pranayama." I said, "What? You know, that is so. Yoga is not about asana at all. You can totally omit asana." And you can do yoga in so many other ways. There are 7 more paths to yoga, right? So if you're not doing asana is like one of the first few. Even if you omit asana entirely, that's okay. You can just do pratyahara practice. If you do dhyana, if you do dharana, all of that is just way beyond asanas. So if you don't do asanas, I mean, of course, asana is a path of getting there, but it's not the entirety of it. So I was telling him, I'm sure you are more, yogic than in comparison to a person who's just doing asanas and not extracting from it.
I think we are more than extracting. I think we are getting stuck at only asana. Maybe, okay, today I achieved an asana. What is next asana?
Yeah.
We are always looking into asanas. What if we think we are end of asanas? We have done everything. What's next?
Yeah.
So, it is. Asana plays a very vital role in all the practice. For example, I'm practicing pratyahara, sitting still and observing. But for me to enter that mode of a pratyahara, it's taking closely 30 minutes. And so the practices will be like that. I entered from a very daylight into a dark room. I don't see anything. Because I don't spend there much time, I can't visit this place quite often. That's how pratyahara, dharana, dhyana practices will be.
Yeah.
If I'm practicing asana, it's easy for me to access there because I'm gaining control over my body, breath, and I'm practicing pranayama, pratyahara. Maybe instead of 30 minutes, it may take me 5 minutes. And I can stay there longer. That's the only reason we practice asana constantly till samadhi. The reason is that every aspect of the Ashtanga Yoga has its own essence.
Yeah.
But we don't complete that essence if there is no asana related.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I completely agree with you on that you can, of course, go ahead, and there is a lot to receive from here. Like there are, especially Yashwanth, there are a lot of people, especially during this time and age, that's exactly why Hatha Yoga was started, right? Because there needs to be a, body. You start from the, aspect that is, okay, seeable and doable. And then you go to the subtler, because it may not be as easy to go into the subtle aspects. But Yashwanth, I feel some people who can just go like that, and they don't need an asana.
Yes.
Right?
But maybe they are following a different path, like Jnana Yoga, Dharma Yoga.
Probably.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Objective is the same. Yeah.
Correct. So there are so many ways, I'm so sorry to interrupt you, but there are so many ways, as Yashwanth said, there's Bhakti Yoga, there's Jnana Yoga, there's Karma Yoga, there are so many ways of getting there. And then even if you practice Raja Yoga and if you're easily able to go into that space, then it'll be easy to just, come into this, and asana may not be as important at all. Of course, it contributes so much to health and physicality, but may not be as, please do it, of course. Asana is very important, but I'm saying it's not as much or as big as people make it to be. That's the only thing that I'm saying.
Yes. Everywhere we see it's more of a physical expression.
Yeah.
And we're trying to stick with that. We're not going beyond that physical expression. Yeah. For example, when someone is much more devoted into Krishna, today is Vinayaka Chavati, Ganesha, for them, it's just his name is more than enough for them to move to that pratyahara mode.
Yeah.
Just his name.
Yeah.
So they are bhakti. It's different paths based on their personalities they have chosen. But everyone, we are all seeking for the same thing.
Yeah.
at the end of the day. So
So true.
it's completely fine, whichever the path we choose based on our personality. At the end, we are trying to reach the same end. So that's completely
Yeah.
fine.
That's nice, Yashwanth. That's beautiful, and thank you for this. Especially, I think a lot of things that you've said kind of stuck with all of us. Another thing that we can go back with this entire thing is about doing one posture, and just going deeper into that one posture. So if someone is not able to be as flexible or anything to go into something else, they can just do one and still reach that with just go deeper into that one, maybe 5 postures. All of that also is enough, and it's like
Yes.
you discover more levels of your body when you're doing asana. So please don't get me wrong, I'm not against asanas at all. I love asanas. Otherwise everybody is like, how is she a yoga teacher when she's so against asana? No, I'm not. I just feel like it's not the end of it. There's so much more. So if you're able to even do like a shashankasana, go deeper into that. Simple. If you're able to do like just Surya Namaskar or Parshvakonasana or just the Virabhadrasanas or anything like that, very very simple postures, even just Namaskar Asana. There's so much to that, where you're giving and use mudras or things like that make you go deeper into the meaning of it and extract more, and let go. My God, there are so many things that I have to summarize all of this, but thank you
I,
so much.
I have a small thing to just add what you said.
Yes, please.
So when we speak about asana practice, we have majorly 5 spinal movements. Majorly. When we say panchakosha, we always showed it like circles, like layers around the human body. What if you imagine it's not a circles, it's a spherical balls or a spherical shapes that is represented in a 2-dimensional, like a circle. Imagine.
Wow.
That means every layer has a coexistence. There is a link between every layer with our human body.
Wow.
If we can extend every spine movement is taking us into one dimension. So if you can do the 5 spine movements in your practice, we're trying to access different dimensions. It's just with the physical expression.
Wow.
That's why we have forward bends, that's why we have back bends, twist, inversions. It's just application, it's just a spinal movement, but we are trying to transit from one dimension to the other dimension, like coexistence.
Oh my God. Wow,
So
that's
as
really
long as we are
something.
doing 5 spine movements, that's a complete practice then.
Yeah. Spinal movements again, for each one of you to focus on, especially those who are individually practicing. Please remember that the spine is of utmost importance and the health of the spine is of utmost importance. So go deeper into these 5 spinal movements that Yashwanth is talking about, and otherwise ask your teacher to help you out with this, and I'm sure they will help you out with creating something that is that has a practice, maybe a 20-minute, half an hour, 1 hour practice that has ingredients of all of these things. I think that's beautiful. On that note, Yashwanth, thank you so much for this. I am speechless. I've been in tears, I think for the first time ever. I've been in tears here, and I don't even know what I've spoken because I really doubt that I was in my body. I was like, wait, I want to remain in silence. I want to, really sink in everything that you said. I want to soak in everything that you said. That's the mode that I was in. Thank you for bringing this amazing space to us. I have got so many messages actually saying this was ethereal. This was something I don't know. Is this the time? It's 8:20. Oh my God! I can't believe we spoke for so long, but I almost don't want to let go. I could even speak for longer. Thank you so much, Yashwanth. This has been such a pleasure. Thank you for taking the time out and coming here. Thank you, each one of you who've been a part of this today, and I'm sure you're enlightened and enriched with everything that he had to say. Carry this with you. and reflect more on it. I'm sure you'll get to more layers the more and more that you reflect on this. Thank you so much for coming out. Thank you again, Yashwanth,
Thank you.
for namaste.
I would like to thank few people for this. First is
Please,
Annalise
Annalise.
for, yeah, of
Thank
course.
you so much, Annalise.
Thank you for suggesting me, and for you, thank you so much for asking me.
Thank you.
And recently, I've been getting inspired with my teachers again, but friends also. My friend Vineet, Archana, and my parents, they always inspire me in the recent times. I always look up for my teachers, but people around me always inspire me. I would like to thank everyone who inspired me always. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Yashwanth. Thank you for bringing all the humility along with you today. Thank you for bringing the depth, and I really believe that a tree grows as tall as the roots are deep. And this is exactly what you've shown. And showing where your roots are, I can see the tree that you are. So thank you for bringing that to the
Thank you.
forefront. And Yashwanth, please can you tell people where they can connect with you?
I do teach online classes. You can search for Pratyaksha Yoga. You'll reach the website. If you have any questions, you have anything to ask me, you can always welcome to ask me through the website. You can reach out to me through the website.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Namaste. Thank you.
Namaste.
Namaste.